so there was kind of like, not realistic necessarily, and English people are a little bit more open-minded than Americans. I mean, they listen to the neighbors and they would listen to our side of the story, and so then this guy came over one day to find out what was the trouble. And so we had a meeting in our place, and during the meeting we would go into this guy's next door neighbor's apartment and then go back, and he would come back into the temple, we'd go, and we did the same thing. We asked them to play real quiet. They were playing kartals and mridungas. He said, now I want you to play just like you normally do, and I'll go next door and see. So we did that. And then this guy that was right, next door to us, his name was Mr. French. He was always kind of a drunkard. He was, he had a fruit stall, and he was the most
fermenting.
Huh?
His fruits kept fermenting.
His fruit kept fermenting. He was always complaining, really bad. And at one point, he was in this meeting in the temple, and he just sort of lost it. He got real, and he went to go outside, and he pulled the door, and the doorknob came out, and he sort of fell backwards. And then this Mr. Wallace, just in a typical British way, said, well, there's no need to get so hot under the collar, Mr.
Stiff upper lip.
But then the neighborhood scribe got involved, this Mr. Beaver, and he was like one flight up or something, and then he sort of rallied all the people on the block to just sign a petition to get us out. And at one point the government had spies with cameras and telescopes on the building top opposite to see if how many people were living there, and
Really?
and we couldn't. And they were spying on us, and we couldn't do anything.
This was all Berry Place?
Yeah, Berry Place. The neighbors. And then we went to court, and we lost all the court battles.
Oh, yeah.
Well, checkered history, eh?
Yeah, it's a real checkered history.
It's lovely to have the farm and make a lot of noise and run around and
what they thought at one point is that the chaunce was going through the brick wall and it was causing them to cough, and they thought we were hexing them, black magic rituals to destroy their lives, and they were coughing and gagging.
Oh no! And LSD in the food?
Well, they didn't say that. They must have thought that.
That's what they used to say, LSD in the food.
They said that here or anyone?
Here, everywhere. I thought that was common everywhere, LSD.
In the food.
Otherwise, how could you be? If you see some of those earlier BTGs and the devotees are out chanting, and they're like, I mean,
they look nuts.
even I love to see that now. I think, how could anyone be that high? They're like ecstatic. So naturally, they thought that they're putting LSD in the food, in the prasad.
You can only be happy if you were drugged.
Yeah.
Yes.
Audrey and I talked about that. Is that in San Diego, he was the temple president for years, and I guess he joined in Chicago, and he saw the devotees in the corner in the snow, in Harinam. He just thought, they have to. What? How can they possibly be happy? It's freezing cold, and they're all in Harinam.
And look at them.
And it attracted. It caught his mind. And he thought, I have to find out. This is just too wild. It's not.
Very
it's not
attractive.
possible.
But I have to tell you, when our Harinam goes out, and we're all old, mentally old, it doesn't look like that anymore.
There's the...
I'm always saying, smile.
So they had to split it into two different Harinam parties. There's the geriatric Harinam party, and then there's the young people's Harinam party.
Yeah.
Because the geriatric party just wasn't liking it.
I don't want to go with the geriatric one anymore. I want to go with the young ones.
The geriatric one is headed by Ishwara usually, but it's kind of mixed now.
It is mixed, yeah.
They don't call it that, do they?
I call it that. I call it that.
I endorse that. I second that.
But people kind of like that because they think, well, they're still around.
Yeah. Somebody stopped us in Bailey, in the main street, and they said, "Where are all the young ones? You're all like ancient, basically." I didn't know what to say.
It's a good symptom of the health of ISKCON when there's a lot of young people handing out pamphlets, and they're dressed really nice, and they're singing in a way that's entertaining.
Well, it's enlivening for other young people on the streets.
They do that, but in England, but only once a week. They have a big party, people wear garlands, and they're all dressed nice. But they only do it on Saturday nights.
Saturday night, yeah.
Anyway, something's better than nothing.
Oh,
but if they did it like that every day, it would be really good. But no one's got the time to do it every day, it seems like.
No, not like it used to be.
And a lot of the new recruits, they haven't shaved their heads and they're wearing, the men are wearing trousers and they look really motley.
Oh yeah.
And they're not shaven.
Yeah, yeah.
Do they live in the temple or outside?
Some do, some of those do,
Some they do.
in some temples,
Well, I guess just like
like New Govardhan. But you know, nowadays it's not uncommon to see men in the temples wearing pants. I don't know if that happens in
Yeah,
Potomac.
it happens a lot.
Is it? It's the new look. And you know what they're
Yeah.
saying? Word on the street is, how can we attract new people when we're wearing these, you know, traditional Vaishnava clothes? People want to feel they can come and wear their jeans and their little tops and whatever. That's word on the street.
Yeah.
We have to attract
Even though that's
priests.
the word on the street, that's kind of what attracted a lot of people in you know, in the 60s and 70s. I think it would still attract people to see, you know, very nicely dressed people in saris and dhotis and shaved headed and singing nice songs because they're entertained and they don't, you know, it's like you look at Eminem. I mean, you know, he's a guy that's got a prison record and all that, and he talks about that in his songs. People like it because they're entertaining.
Yes, yes.
So even though we're different, I think it will still attract people.
Yeah.
Because they'll be entertained. And there was a time when I was with a group of people that were living for London. We asked Prabhupada if he had any last minute suggestions, and that's when he told that story about Charlie Chaplin or Max Linder tearing the seat of his pants down. And then on the way back we were thinking, why did Prabhupada say that? Because we were asking him about, you know, tips for preaching in England, and he said and the answer, when we thought about it after a while, we came to the conclusion that Prabhupada told that story because it meant, in a kind of metaphorical way, that if you do something very unconventional, but if you're doing it with great enthusiasm, it'll be contagious.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
why he said that at that time.
Yeah.
The first thing he said was do street dramas because that's, you know, people like that.
Yes.
Because it's the land of Shakespeare and all that.
Oh yes.
But then he
yes.
broke into this story. He told it quite at length. He saw it in a film. I don't know if it was Charlie Chaplin or Max Linder or something like that.
But I can see our style of dress. It's just fading away. And sometimes people are in the halfway stage, curtain and shorts.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like the halfway, half and half.
Well, shaven heads has become sort of a popular thing now. I mean, I see people all the time with a shaven
Well, it's popular, but the sikhas are disappearing. You see a lot of devotees with shaved heads with no sikha. It's becoming fairly common.
I haven't had the Sikha for about 55 years now.
Well, you don't have to have one because you're married. I've had one.
I had to shave up because in the Middle East, you used to look at me suspiciously.
Oh,
At least you have to.
it was quite dangerous in the Middle
And in
East.
fact, one time, one guy come up to me in Alaska. He said, "What's this tail you got here?" "Oh, it's my Chinese pigtail." I said, "Oh."
Yeah, it was like a bit edgy.
Even in Alaska.
The Middle East they're very strict.